Please give a big Steel City welcome to Nancy Cartwright. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Wow, thank you. Hi, I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? All right, hi guys. So cool that you are all here. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to sit in front of you and see all your sweet faces and all the smiles. And I'm curious who came the farthest. Who came like from, we'll start the United States, like from the West Coast.
Got one over there.
Where?
Anyone else?
Hand high. Well done. Round of applause. All right. Thank you. How about from Canada? Anybody flying? Canada, up front. Here too. Awesome. Cool. And him too. Great. Anybody from the UK? Anybody from out of the United States besides Canada? Wow, where from? Austria.
Austria, wow.
You came to this? Wow, I'm impressed. I don't know that it's true, but
what are you trying to say about that? I'm not.
That's cool. So
I'm Kyle. I'll be your moderator.
Kyle, thank you.
And we have some people lined up for questions.
All right.
Let's get to our first question.
Cool.
Who's first? I like your shirt.
My question was, what's your favorite episode of The Simpsons, or a favorite moment or a Bart moment?
First, my question is, what is your name?
Asher.
Asher, what's happening, man? My favorite episode, Asher, I gotta tell you, it's a tough one to answer. It's like, what's my favorite episode? Who's my favorite character? Now, you're not old enough to have a kid yet, but when you have children, it's like somebody asking you, who's your favorite kid? It's a tough one, but I will tell you, I do tend to favor the musicals, right? You know, like the musicals are so fun. And Nancy Cartwright, I'm a mediocre singer at best. Bart Simpson loves to sing. And, you know, it's like, yo, what's happening, dude? You guys know what this is all about. I'm the guy with the rep for being rude, terrorizing people wherever I go. It's not intentional, so you get the idea, right? So there you go, buddy. I like the musicals. Yeah.
And our next question.
Hello, Mrs. Cartwright. Okay, dumb question. Did you let your kids watch The Simpsons, or were there certain episodes they weren't allowed to watch?
You know, that is such a great episode, and you are such a great fan. This guy came back, I don't know, 3 times, something like that, to meet with me. It's incredible. I don't know that anybody's asked me that before. My daughter was born, okay, this is a story for you. So the very first episode of The Simpsons was December 17th, 1989. They held a big party in Los Angeles, actually in Santa Monica, at a bowling alley. Barney's Bowlerama. I kid you not. I was sticking out to here. I was as wide from front to back as I was top to bottom. I wore a white satin pantsuit with a red bandolier around I looked like a bowling pin. I did. And that last gutter ball, I'm telling you, that night my water broke. And my daughter Lucy was born 2 days later, and there we were. So, what was the question?
Did you ever let your kids watch The Simpsons?
Yeah. So my son was born about 21 months after that. Both my kids were just babies, and I was being a new mom. First time, me and my husband raising our kids, and all you new moms out there, I mean, I was putting my kids to bed at the same time they were going to bed, and I was probably asleep before they were. Didn't watch The Simpsons early on. We recorded it. This was, as you know, that was 33. She's 33, so like 33, 34 years ago. We recorded it on VHS, and so we would watch the show within the next couple of days we had recorded very cheaply on our VHS machine. So there's your answer. When I raised them, I didn't tell them that I was Bart. I was just their mom. And in fact, is that whole line all questions? How far
Yeah.
back? Okay, I won't go on. I could just keep talking, I swear. But no, by the time they were interested, I was really just their mom. They didn't really become fans of the show. And even to this day, I'm a grandma, and I haven't told my granddaughter, who's 6.5, I've not told her that I'm Bart Simpson. She doesn't watch the show. She's a Rugrats fan, though, but she doesn't know that I'm Chuckie. She doesn't know that. So she's going to have to figure that out on her own. But that's a great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Nancy, how's your day going so far?
I got to tell you, last time I went to a Comic-Con was 9 years ago. I don't get out much to these.
So is this your first one in years?
Yeah, in 9 years. This is the first one.
I never even knew that about you. This is crazy.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, finding out some of the fans that came up to me would share me their little tidbits and little, their stories and stuff. And I am so blown away. I am so impressed with the dedication you all have with this show. And I'm honored. I don't know that the other actors will ever be coming out to do so. It's not their mojo. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to make them wrong. It's not. This has been my purpose since I was 16.
Awesome.
So to come and find out a little bit. I mean, I'm all over the place. There's hardly anything that I can even try to hide. That I don't really try to hide stuff, but it's like. You can do my TikTok. I've got a master class. I wrote a book about 1.5 years ago. 7 hours and 2 minutes long if you want to get it on Audible. It's got all the details. Will make you laugh and make you cry. Self-promotion. Shameless self-promotion. But my point is that it's always been a strong purpose line, a goal of mine. I found a talent when I was a child, and I realized people get paid to burp and fart? That's amazing. So that I have that in spades. So that's a great question. So I really appreciate it. The fans, you guys are amazing, and back to you for being so dedicated. Thank you. Yeah, I mean it.
All right, well, you got another question real quick.
So the question that I have is, from what I've seen from The Simpsons, every year the characters remain the same age, but it's almost like every decade it's always a new timeline, yet all of the characters are still the same. How is it possible that they're trying to change their birth dates from the 1950s and the 1970s and 80s to nowadays? Why is that happening?
The cool thing about animation is that the word animate means to inject life. You put life into something. It's to make something come real. And it's like the writers, they too, in a way, they animate because they've got their imagination and they put life into the script. Then it comes to me and I do my voice and I inject my life, my spirit into those Bart, Nelson, Ralph, Kearney, Todd, Database, Maggie, Chuckie, Snork, whatever, all these characters. The point I'm making is that it's like there's such a broad. Bart has been, we've gone back to caveman time. We've gone forward in time where they're in space. Homer's been a zygote, sperm. We can live underwater. It doesn't matter. That's the beauty of animation. So there you go. That's the best I can give you, buddy.
Good question. Okay, Mr. Ross.
Hello, Nancy. So there's been a lot of special guests on The Simpsons or celebrities. Who has been your favorite and you would want to come back?
Gosh, who's my favorite? Again, it's like one of those questions. They're all so unique. The stars that come on, they found fairly early on that I think after maybe 7 or 8 years, it's like we have to accommodate their schedules. Kelsey Grammer, I will say something, a nod to the Mr. Grammer, because he would come to the table reading where we all read together. What's happening there? Hi, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. A little respect for those that like actually came here for that. Not to belabor it, but it's like Kelsey would come to the table reads and read his part for us. Anne Hathaway, she came to the table read and she sang. It was an improv, and you guys know what an incredible vocalist she is from Les Mis and other things she's done. She would do an improv singing like Princess. I forget her name. Princess. What was her name? Anybody? Say it again. Princess Ella. She just did an beautiful voice, and she just did that because she's an artist. Incredible. This was really something that we were all finding out for the first time, but mostly their schedules did not accommodate. So when it came time to do the record, we would do a separate record. And I had the privilege of working with Meryl Streep. This is one of my favorite stories. I was so nervous. I don't get that starstruck, but with her and her on-camera work with everything that she's done, she was so amazing. And I'm just helping her. It's not her area. It's not throwing her under the bus. Like, she's in front of the camera, and this is her creating a character. She must have done 6, 7, she did 10 takes. Usually we do 4 takes for each scene. She would do 10 takes, and really amazing. Each one different, which is a real professional, because it's not up to me to decide which take they're going to use for the show. The editor and director will figure that out. She was so professional. At the end, I'm leaving. We signed our contracts. We're walking out the door. I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn, and it's Meryl standing there, no makeup, espadrilles, completely like clean and beautiful, just with no mascara or nothing, just stunning. And she's looking at me and she's saying, "You know, my kids don't watch the show. Would it be all right? Could I have your autograph?" So sweet. And I got the privilege of Mickey Rooney and Elizabeth Taylor, Anne Hathaway, who else? 50 Cent. Got to work with 50 Cent. He had on about $500 worth of bling, and I said, "Could you bring it down to a nickel 50? Because it kind of jingled around his neck, and that wouldn't work on a tape recorder. So I've had the privilege of working with a lot of these guys. There you go.
Right. Thank you. Good luck with those happy trees. Next question.
Yep. So Nancy, The Simpsons has been on a long time, and some people are saying it's going downhill. Would you agree with that?
Are you kidding? Why would I agree with that?
I don't think she's able to agree with that, even if she thought it.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. My comment, we're 35 years. It's going to be 36 after we're done with these 2 seasons. It's remarkable.
I would say it's safe to say the show has evolved over the years, and it will continue to evolve.
I agree. Thanks for the question.
Do you think it'll ever end, The Simpsons? Ever?
No. Somehow or another, it's going to still be around in different form, but somehow. I want to give everybody a chance to answer a question. So if you guys can help me out here, just give me one question each.
Okay, here you go.
Hi, Nancy. I was wondering, what is the most difficult voice to do?
Wait, I didn't quite get that.
What's the hardest voice to do?
Well, the hardest voice probably is Nelson. You know, I call it a throat ripper. Because when he talks, I got to kind of grind it like that. In the script, when I first got that, all it said was "ha ha." It didn't tell me how to do it, and the H-A-W, I think it said H-A-H-A, or Nelson laughs, but it became that kind of iconic sound. But that's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
So when you have done like The Simpsons and the Rugrats and all that, which do you prefer, The Simpsons or the Rugrats?
Yeah, that's so tough, buddy. It's so tough to answer. But I did find out. I spoke at graduation. This was a long time ago. My alma mater at Ohio University, and I stood up. And even though Bart Simpson just was all over the place. When I told them I was Chuckie, that public, that age group, those kids were not allowed to watch The Simpsons. They were 10 or under at that time. And it's like Rugrats was the show they turned to. And picking of me getting cast of all the shows to be Bart Simpson on one hand and Chuckie on the other hand, that was like amazing. Because they're so opposite, right, in their attitudes. I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky.
As do we. Next question.
Hello. So you had a chance to study with Dawes Butler, and I'm curious if he had a chance to either hear what became your Bart voice, or if there was like a piece of advice that he gave you that like really sticks with you like every day when you're in the booth.
Yeah, it's an awesome question. Dawes Butler was my mentor. It's a bit of a Cinderella story. So I started corresponding with him, and he would send me scripts in the mail. I'm in Kettering, Ohio. He's in Beverly Hills, California, and he would send me scripts, and I would record my voice on a little cassette, because that was the thing at the time. We didn't have anything. There was no cable, no nothing. Anyway, he would critique me, and always very positive, and made me feel like I could do anything. So I kind of did anything. I never let anybody's opinion stop me. And I find that, yes, round of applause. He really taught me a basic kind of tenet in life that I've sort of taken for myself to be something that I live by is, you guys, you know, there are people that don't want you to do well. You know that, right? That everybody's got enemies. Even gnats have enemies. Even fleas have enemies. It's like, you got to be selective about who you keep around you, because you're worthy. You're totally valuable. We need more artists in this life. We need more people that inspire others to do well. And it's kind of like, set the good example. And I just found a way to filter out people that I don't consider my friends. And you'd be surprised when you take a good hard look, it might be the guy standing right next to you. It could be, hate to say it, could be a family member that doesn't make you feel good. Well, be selective about who you keep in your life. You are important. You are. You're valuable. And you can actually do what I'm doing and influence those around you. You can set the good example and just, poo-poo those that make you feel bad. Dawes Butler made me feel good. And so I made my dream come true by stopping what I was doing and convinced my mom and dad to, help me out. I transferred to UCLA, worked 3 jobs to be able to pay for it. I did not get a scholarship. It was not easy. Lived in the dorm. My bike was stolen within a week. It was like, everybody's got a story. And it's not easy for anybody. But it's what you do with it. It's how you take whatever it is that you have. What are the cards that you have? How you're going to play your own game. That's up to you to decide that. So there you go.
Awesome.
Oh, and he did not get to. He passed away in '86. So he didn't get to, but he saw me do other things. He was very proud of me at the end. Thank you for the question.
That is awesome. Next question.
Hi, my name is George. Thank you so much for coming out to this. My jaw dropped when I heard you were announced. I wanted to ask you what's it like doing the voice acting for the video games, and how is it different from being in a booth for the show, and how it's evolved over the years?
It's not doing the video games. It's not quite as for me. It's kind of like I've got a list of all these sayings and quotes that I have to do. There's no room for me to do improv. There's no room for me to ad-lib and put my own creativity in it. They're paying me to do the job and do exactly what's written there, and so they can get a good product. And I always want to make sure at the end that I've delivered what they want. And if I haven't quite said it right, and I've done it, 18 times, and I still am not quite getting what they want, because people, they hear it a certain way. I say, how do you hear it? What do you want? You tell me how you want it. I listen, and make sure that they get what they want. So that's the difference. The TV show, you know, I said 4 takes. Sometimes it's more, and I can ad-lib. But when it comes down to it, I still don't have any say. That Eat My Shorts, by the way, that was an ad-lib. I didn't know that was going to, like, at the table read, I threw, Eat My Shorts. And next thing you know, it's on a million T-shirts. And I'm like, wow, I did that. And it just, that was my contribution, and that felt great. Great question.
This person looks familiar.
Hi, Miss Cartwright. So my question is, do you think we'll ever get a second Simpsons movie, and what would you want to do with Bart in it?
Oh, wow, it's an awesome question. Well, Matt Groening, I don't know where he was that he said it, but, and I'll just reinstate what he said, there will be another movie. Yeah. Yeah, there will be another one. I just don't know when. I don't know, and I don't know the future. We're recording season 35 right now, and then we'll do 36, and who knows what's going to happen with it. But like I said before, in some form, maybe they'll do a spin-off, maybe they'll just do movies, maybe Disney will buy The Simpsons from Fox, and then they'll carry on and whatever. But don't you agree? I don't think anybody wants to cancel Bart Simpson, right? I think it'll keep going, and with your guys' support, as long as I can keep doing this voice, and Dan is around, and Julie is around, and Yardley is around, and Hank and Harry and all the voice actors are around to inject that life, I think we got more life in it.
Absolutely. All right, next question.
Hi, Nancy. I'm Taylor, and I just wanted to ask if you remember the point in your career that you realized The Simpsons would become the phenomena that it is now.
Are we a phenomenon? You know, that's a great question, because people say, and you look at the history of it, certainly by season 5 or even 4, we were huge, maybe even season 2, because it was just something that had not been done before on primetime television. In fact, the station, the network, quote-unquote network, it wasn't even a network. Fox only reached 70% of the households that had televisions because it wasn't officially a network. It still isn't. It's a news corporation. It's in the business of putting news out there. Simpsons is a minor part of that, but not to get into the business of it. Every negotiation was hard. It was like losing sleep for weeks because I felt my life was on the line. And I don't know when negotiations are never that easy. I'm never totally secure, and I only feel that way because it's not up to me. You know, the powers that be are going to make a decision about, and what's hard is that the actors are the last ones that are asked. It's our contract, and so we are affecting all the animators' careers. All of these writers, all of the animators that are so dedicated, that doing all the artwork, and the musicians, and the people that count on this show living, thousands of people are employed by the fact that The Simpsons is a job and is available to them. It is a lot of pressure. It's a good question, honey. Thank you.
All right, next.
Hi, Nancy. My question is, with your voice being one of the most recognizable in the industry, how is your experience? Oh my gosh. What is it like being a woman in this industry?
What is it like being a woman and in history?
In this industry.
In this industry. Well, that's a good question, too, because when I first went in to audition for Lisa Simpson, because I wasn't told anything about Bart, my agent said, there's this little quirky vignette, this interstitial. I didn't even know that word. What's an interstitial? Oh, it's a little animated segment. It goes from Tracy Ullman show to a little animated segment to the commercial, and then back to the animated segment, and then back to the show. And I'm like, so it's not even a show? And she said, yeah. And I said, oh. So at that point, it was kind of like, well, I'll do it, but it didn't seem like such a big deal to me. But man, that was the smartest decision I ever made, is to continue to do it anyway. So I showed up, there's the little picture of Lisa and a monologue, and I read it, 8 years old, middle child, da-da-da-da-da-da. She says her little speech, and she's super cute. And then right next to her was a picture of Bart. 10-year-old, underachiever, 10-year-old school-hating underachiever and proud of it. I'm like, whoa, yeah. He had my heart. I mean, between Bart and Lisa, how many of you would rather be Bart? Yeah, I know, right? Although Lisa's got some great merit. Who wouldn't have wanted to have a daughter like that? She's like, well, come on. Nancy, come on. But I made the right decision. There's no way I ever would have been cast as Lisa. And Yardley, by the way, was told about Bart. Go figure that. There's no way she would ever have a sound. So I said to Matt Groening, I came in for Lisa, but I'd rather do the kid. Is that all right with you? He says, yeah, no problem. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God, that's him. You got the part. Signed right on the spot. Cast right on the spot. That's another tip. Surround yourself with people who support you and what you do, and also do what you love. Trust your instincts. You are correct. That little voice inside your head that tells you don't do it. This is not going to be your future wife. This is not the guy you're going to marry. This is not the direction you're going to go in your life. You got to trust that, because you're right. You're absolutely right. There you go.
All right, next question.
Okay, so before I ask my question, I just want to say that Anne Hathaway was in 2 princess movies, Ella Enchanted and Princess Diaries. Yeah.
Okay. So she was, I'm trying to think of her name, Princess Penelope. On The Simpsons, she was Princess Penelope.
Okay. And my question to you is...
Yeah, that's right. And she married Krusty.
Oh. So my question is, can you speak French as Bart?
Such a great question. That's when people ask me what was the hardest, that's right up there. One of the most difficult and challenging voiceover jobs I ever had was that particular episode when Bart was sent to France as a exchange student. And remember, they put him in the barn. He was raised by donkeys or something, those 2 French guys that had the winery. And he escaped. And it's raining, and he's in downtown Paris, and he's trying, Jardin. And now listen, I don't know how to speak French, so they hired somebody for the accent, which when I speak French like Bart, I feel like I can do sort of an American French accent. That's pretty bad, pretty lame perhaps, but they hired somebody to help me with that. Now, I had taken a phonetics class when I was at Ohio University, so I knew how to write phonetically. This is all going to make sense to you. So here it is, written in English, but it's also written in French because I'm speaking in French. But I didn't know how to read French, so I wrote phonetically on top of the French how to pronounce the words, but I didn't know what I was saying. So here I've got phonetically the pronunciation in French and in English, and I've got like 8 eyeballs looking, trying to decipher all this simultaneously. And what you hear is what I came up with, and it was so challenging for me, and I got a great story to tell. So awesome question.
Hi. I was wondering what inspired you to become a voice actor?
I think it was just as a kid. I used to love telling jokes and making people laugh. And, okay, this is for all you more senior type people out there. Do you guys remember Reader's Digest? Okay, so Reader's Digest had an article called Laughter is the Best Medicine. So they would have awesome jokes in there, and I would take a joke that was written out, and we'd have a family reunion or gathering, a barbecue or Easter or Christmas or whatever, and we would do talent shows and sketches and stuff. And also, this was for me, was when I was around Bart's age, late 60s, and also Laugh-In was on television at the time. So you take those 2 things, and I used to mimic Ruth Buzzy, and I used to do Gladys Ormsby. You remember her and Artie, what's his name? Johnson, and do the dirty old man and this bag lady and tell these jokes. But I did it because I was becoming an actress. like mimicking, and what I got, the laughter that it created was like, oh, they think I'm funny. Wow, they're laughing at what I do. So I entered a contest when I was 10. And it wasn't even a funny story. I just told Rudyard Kipling how the camel got his hump, which is just not, it's not even funny, but it's the way that I said it that the audience laughed, and I was hooked. That was it. Then I started to pursue other opportunities that made people laugh, competitions and stuff. And then high school, I was on the speech team. I won a lot of, those are my trophies over there, by the way. A lot of first places, a lot of blue ribbons, and then got a scholarship to go to Ohio University and kind of got paid in a way to travel around and make people laugh. And I had a summer job at a radio station, hooked up with Dawes Butler. Bit of a long story, but that's how it all happened. It just kind of was very organic, doing what I loved. So do what you love. Another tip for you.
Thank you.
And we'll get those packed up for you.
All right. Hello, Nancy. So wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you.
I just want to say I've been excited to meet you ever since they announced you were coming, and for voicing Rufus from Kim Possible.
Yeah, they do separate records for that because I spit when I do that.
Thanks. That's one of my favorite characters. And I want to say you did a wonderful job as him and Bart Simpson and Nelson on The Simpsons.
Thank you.
So my question for you is, since you talked about what inspired and got you into voice acting, what advice would you give anybody interested in pursuing voice acting?
Yeah. It's such a different world now than when I started. And I think the best thing I can do, this is going to be such a general idea, but you got to find your own way. The main thing is, like with anything, it's about communication. So you establish a line, a relationship with somebody. Find somebody that can do this and can kind of guide you. And listen, Dawes Butler as my mentor, I started communicating to him in 1977. A whole different kind of world. Now you got TikTok, you got, I would say there definitely are classes that you can take online. I did a master class, by the way. You can get that. You can get a master class. It's super entertaining, even if you're not interested in voiceovers. But I give a lot of tips to do it. But basically, you're going to have to find your own way and connect up with somebody and just do a lot of it. Practice, practice, practice. You can replicate others. You can do a bad Bart Simpson. Do a bad Nelson Muntz, but find your own character by stealing what I do and make that your own. That's a way that you can do that.
All right. Well, I've always wanted to recite this line since you said it in the Simpsons movie. You ready?
Yeah.
Because Bart Simpson says it.
I'm the mascot of an evil corporation.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, Nancy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. You have a little something in your head. But.
Oh, really? Hey, Nancy. How you doing?
Hi, good.
So I just have one very interesting question for you. How good was Ned Flanders' hot cocoa? Was it just that good?
It was that good.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And another question here.
Hi, Nancy. Longtime fan. Good to see you in person. A fan of Cheers also. And I was watching season 4, and in a dream sequence, I noticed there's a certain actress that pops up and accuses Kelsey Grammer's character of being a kleptomaniac.
Oh, that's funny. A little tip of the hat to Cheers.
And
That's
I'm watching
funny.
that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, have you seen that in a long time? Is that fun to go back and watch now? Because the sideshow.
The Cheers episode?
Yeah.
Well, I pulled it up that I have it. I'm redoing my own website, and it'll probably be a part of that, just as nostalgia. But yeah, that was interesting. Who knew? I mean, that was in 80.
I think it was Woody's first season, I think. I think it was Woody Harrelson's first season, I think.
Yeah, it was Shelley Long. It was her last season. I think it was in 83 or 84.
Yeah.
Or could it? Yeah. But that was, I'd done Twilight Zone, the movie by then, and Marion Rose White, which was a movie of the week. I was just starting out, and look, that was happenstance. I didn't even intend on doing on camera, but my career, it's like the horse was leading me in that direction, so I wasn't going to reject that. I wanted to go the way the horse was traveling. Just made that an opportunity, but there you go.
All right, I think we can sneak in one final question. No pressure.
So for aspiring voice actors, are there like any sort of like vocal techniques or warm-ups that you do that kind of like singers and stuff before they go on stage?
You know, I learned some tongue twisters that are kind of fun. I don't do ma me me mo moo, ma me me mo moo. I don't do that. I'm cautious about, I try not to drink a lot of, I don't do dairy. I do cheat every now and then with hot chocolate. I'm sorry. Guilty as charged. But there's one tongue twister that I do that is a bit challenging, that just mostly is for entertainment, but it goes like this. What a to-do to die today at a minute or two to two. A thing distinctly hard to say, but harder still to do. For a beat to two, at a quarter to two, with the rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, and the dragons will come and they sound the drum at a minute or two to two today at a minute or two to two. So that one is a good one to warm up the pipes. Unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. That's a good one. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Those are all things that any actor will have that in his back pocket. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for spending this time with us. Nancy, this has been great. Give her a big round of applause. Be sure to visit her at her table.
Thank you, guys. You guys are keeping the show alive. Thank you so much. Cheers.
You watched that whole video. Lucky you. You should subscribe to it or something. It makes you smart, like me. So have Fandom and follow your fun. Oh, and shut up and take my videos.